What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today I want to talk about Testament. We're getting close to 2 weeks since Testament's release, so I want to talk about my current thoughts on how good the character is, and also have some matches going on at the same time so I can accent some points. If I had to give you the too long, didn't watch, first of all, thank you for watching the ad at the beginning. Second of all, I think Testament is definitely not going to be top tier, but I think the character's potential is pretty high, but it's going to be dependent on probably one main thing, and the more I play them, the more I'm feeling this, is their ability to build meter in strings, because basically this will get Testament to their win condition, I think, which is staying hit or block into super for another attempt. I think a lot of these sequences all do like a lot of damage, and at the moment I'm only aware of one like serious meter building string that's off like throw in the corner. Even though I'm not planning on playing Testament so seriously anymore, over the past weekend I made up my mind for real to just focus on Milia and Giovanna for the rest of the season. I still want to experiment with this because I think that is really probably the best thing to make Testament look strong. So overall, as far as matchup impressions, just like not about Testament versus specific characters, but more like where do I think Testament is strong against the cast and where do I think Testament is weak against the cast. Basically, I think if the opponent doesn't have a full screen projectile, Testament is strong against them, or shouldn't lose. Maybe it's going to be like a damage issue or something. But when the opponent either just has really crazy risk return, but that's not really what it is usually, or they have a full screen projectile that's good to use, like not too much restrictions to use. I think those are so far the most difficult matchups to play, probably with the exception of Zato as far as neutral. For now, by the way, I have not played a super strong Zato with Testament yet, just from playing a little bit, and that'll come across in matches. The main reason is basically I feel like Testament gets to set up their basic neutral game plan pretty easily. It's not even about mobility so much as just being able to put out the succubus from full screen without having to worry about the opponent to counter besides running at you. Basically, that's all any character has that doesn't have a full screen projectile. All they can really do is run at you. So because of that, I think it makes neutral pretty like comfy, for lack of a better word. Where if they have a full screen projectile, then you usually have to think a good amount about it, because Gravedigger, or is it Great people? I don't actually know if it's Gravedigger or Grave Reaper, but the 236S, let's do it that way. 236S has a couple of small problems, like you can hop over it really easily. It's only one hit durability unless you charge it. Although the move itself starts up quickly, Testament has a long total duration, so Testament's kind of just chilling there for a little bit. So if you use it at the wrong time, you're kind of smoked as well. Then there's like the up one, the H one, but I don't find there to be too many opportunities to use it in neutral unless the character is kind of floating around. So just keep all these things in mind. Now, as far as these matches that I have together, I tried to get a good variety of characters, and I'm trying to mix losses with wins, of course. If you want to see the whole thing, then you just pray that some match uploader just uploads all the matches or something. I don't know. So first was Soul. So the main problem I thought about Testament versus Soul is that Soul does a lot of damage, and Testament like has fast buttons, so you have 2P, but 2P's best return is when they're close. So you get 2P, 6P. 2P, 6P seem to like whiff sometimes in Soul just because of distance, and then both kicks are 7 frames, so it could be hard to mash, especially if you're delay mashing or fuzzy mashing. It could be hard to use that to get out of situations. On top of that, Testament has big buttons, but as we all know, some of these are not disjointed, like Far Slash, and they're not fast. So Far Slash like 13 frames, and Soul has a lot of mid-range moves that are fast with high return, like 6H is 9, even though it's map bunchable. It's just worth noting that 6H is 9, Far Slash is 10, 2S is like 10 or 11, I forget. Like Soul just has really good buttons once he is able to get past like the full screen setup, and of course if he hits you, you're going to die. The good news is Soul doesn't have a full screen projectile, so when I'm full screen, I'm chilling. I feel like I could be really lazy and just do Gravedigger, Crow, Gravedigger, and now I could just sit there and do not whatever I want, but I just feel like I have a lot of implicit threat. It's also pretty nice that I don't have to interact with DP too much on my knockdowns because I'm always doing a meaty projectile. So then this one I felt a little weird about. I have the impression that Ino probably wins this. Mostly just I think Testament defense is really weak. Like the super is really slow. Again, 2P is fine, I guess, but I don't know. And then on top of that, you have to call stuff out. Like you gotta call out the dash, you gotta call out stroke. I didn't feel too great when I was playing these matches, but then at the same time, I didn't play a lot. So maybe there's more counterplay that I'm aware of or not aware of. Also, too, I just feel like Ino is able to just loop her winning situation really consistently. So this is actually like low-key another thing that I think Testament needs help with. Hopefully with more development, they'll do better. Is going back to a point where I said characters who don't have full screen projectiles, I think Testament does well against, because you aren't really that good at following up like knockdown into like mix up or pressure. So what a lot of Testaments are doing right now is they'll do Gravedigger, Crow, and then Gravedigger to have a teleport available while having stand on screen, which is pretty strong. But against a character like Axel or Kai or something, when you're doing that, you're just going back to where they're good. Where if you do that to like Soul or something, then it's pretty good because then Soul has to get back past your projectiles, and then all your pokes are plus now. If they do anything wild, you get a punish. I think that's like Testament's strong suit. So I kind of just had mixed feelings about fighting Ino. Especially, like, I guess the projectile is pretty good, but the hover dash goes over it. So I was like, maybe I can use the air projectile to stop her a little bit because she can't run. Another nice thing is that you can pop the note whenever you want, which is really, really nice. So if you see her do it and you do, like, let's say an air H Gravedigger, it'll go down and pop the note. And you will be protected from her basically flying in on you from full screen. It's a great feeling. Cannot lie. As far as just other stuff for the match, I just get the impression that she would just have too much return for being right. One thing that, this is a struggle for Amelia too, kind of, but I'm more familiar with it just because I played her way more, is like there are situations where you can combo and you can't combo, right? So at a glance, when you look at Testament for the first time, you're like, oh, this character's pretty good at converting hits. And like it should be uncommon for them to not be able to convert hits. But in an actual match, it's not that common. Stain really saves the character. Like Stain makes everything a combo, right? But there's a lot of moves we use where you just like can't convert, or you only get one hit of Grave Digger or something. So against characters who either can always get combos or have like good options in these situations where you can't convert, or like decently rewarding options, it can be pretty annoying if you're not prepared for it, if you don't have like a strategy. So then there's Zato. So I actually, again, I don't know what this matchup is gonna be like. So when I tried playing it like kind of standard, this is actually one thing I really think about when I'm building matchup strategy. It's like, one is, can I just play my character's normal game plan? Like how much do I have to adjust? Right, like the ideal is you don't have to adjust very much. Usually those matchups you do pretty well too. Like you don't have to adjust very much. If you do have to adjust a lot of stuff, it could be hard. It might not be hard. You might just have to like play different. It just depends. So for playing this person, Lord Fellow, at the beginning I was a lot of the situations I was mentioning before were coming up. So a lot of like, let's say single hit Gravedigger. I should say 236S. I'm pretty sure it's not called Gravedigger, by the way. Single hit 236S, or like I'm at a spot and I hit like 5k. I didn't want to go into 5k 2D because maybe they'll pick backstep and like all these type of things. And I'll get like a stray, and then since it didn't convert, it was like immediate scramble. But then I would later kind of change my approach to the matchup because I was like, oh yeah, like Zato can't air dash. Zato can't air dash, right? So I should be able to play neutral different against him. It's kind of like the opposite, where like normally Zato is good at zoning people, but I always feel like the main time where he struggles with neutral is when he can't summon comfortably. So he's not that he's zoning, it's like, can he summon comfortably? So in like this game, since it was the early games, I'm kind of just doing my Testament thing, trying to like figure out what exactly do I do about each thing. Especially because I thought Testament has a good 2P to hit Eddie. It's pretty big, 2 frames, right? Not 2 frames, well, I imagine. Pretty big, 5 frames. 5-frame move to kill it. Plus, you could just cancel it into either projectile, 6P, whatever. And I'm trying to just control the mid-range as I did against a lot of other characters, but you're not going to be able to do that against Zato well, right? So instead, I go with this type of strategy, and the main idea is that Eddie is always on the ground, and Zato doesn't really have an air dash, so if I'm controlling the ground with a 2-3 success, that I should be able to see most of the jumps pretty easily that Zato does. And especially if they're stained already, then I can easily convert like jump S into like a pressure situation, or maybe even a mix-up if I lab the situation a little bit more. So here I'm just like playing it slow. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to play it with buttons at all. I'm going to use my projectile and crow nonstop until you jump. You can't air dash. If I see you jump, boom. Nice and simple. And I retreat right over to there. It kind of brings back the point of the weakness or flaw. I shouldn't say weakness, like flaw of Air 236H, because he could definitely 6P that from way further than you think. So he does indeed get his attempt. I try to just go back right away, and then I'm trying to remind myself too, like try not to do any unnecessary mid-range scrambles, right? Especially in the case that I can't convert it, because that was the thing I was worried about in the first place. Zato can convert block strings and scramble situations. It's a pretty scary offense that lead into 50s and do a lot of damage. So instead, we tried to avoid it. But alright, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about Testament. I see all types of takes between bottom 3 to potential. I think the character has potential. I mostly think that they've done a pretty good job with the DLC characters besides one specific one. You guys already know who it is. I still have some more thoughts on characters I want to share in the game, since Testament is the last DLC character. So, I mean, even though we knew we weren't getting any like patches, we really aren't going to get anything until they announce a Season 2 patch. So this is the game that we're going to be playing for a little while longer. As usual too, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if y'all feel like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.